Good morning, everybody. We're going to continue on with our study of the 13 colonies. Remember, I told you this was going to be a whirlwind week because next week we have map testing. But we can do this. Let's go ahead and review a little bit about what we talked about yesterday because today's chapter kind of follows right along in stride with chapter 11 that we talked about yesterday. We talked about the Massachusetts Bay Colony and how it was a Puritan colony, and it was founded by for religious reasons, but it was founded by a group of people who wanted to purify the Church of England. They wanted to change it so that it was more pure. And the Massachusetts Bay Colony grew so rapidly, the population grew so rapidly that the people had to move into different areas and colonize different what are now states. So, if you remember, two of those states were New Hampshire and Connecticut. And today we are going to start off by labeling our map of New Hampshire and Connecticut. Let's go ahead and start off with New Hampshire. This is what the map looks like. It should be in your Bright Thinker. It looks like a rock or something. It's kind of a weird shape. Okay, well, there's a few things we're going to put on here. The first thing that we're going to put, well, actually, we're just going to put the capital of New Hampshire, and that is located sort of like on this third of the bottom, but it's located a little ways up, so about right here. That is about where we're going to find the capital of New Hampshire. And it is located on the Merrimack River, which is the other thing that we're going to put on here. So the capital of New Hampshire is Concord, and it's located right there. Go ahead and put that on there. And then remember, you need to have your, oh goodness, I just drew a blank. Your key, your map key. Oh my gosh. Can tell it's going to be a long day. Concord. I'm putting my key up there towards the top. That tells me that's Concord. The only other thing that I'm going to mark on here, actually, I'm going to get a marker to do it so it's a little bit easier to see, is the Merrimack River. The Merrimack River starts at the bottom of the state, and it moves up through Concord, and then it kind of curves around a little bit, and it ends a little further north. So it looks a little bit like a hook. That's the Merrimack River, and I'm going to go ahead and label that as well. And it's spelled Mare, Rye, Mac, using k, two-letter k, used only after a single vowel, which says Merrimack. Go ahead and label your map. All right, when you're finished, cut this out and glue it into your interactive notebook. But wait, we're not done. I am going to move those out of the way, though. I'll glue them in my notebook later. We are also going to label the map of Connecticut. In your Bright Thinker, you should have this map. Mine has a little bit of blue on it because my key bled through when I was making up the key. But this is the map of Connecticut. We're going to label Hartford, New Haven, and Connecticut River. New Haven is where the original colony of Puritans settled, and it is located pretty much right there above that bump. That's where New Haven is. All right, so I'm going to mark it with an asterisk like I do, and that is New Haven, and it's spelled New Haven, New Haven. All right, the other thing we're going to mark on here is the capital of Connecticut. The capital of Connecticut is Hartford. And oops, I should probably show you where that is. And it's located almost exactly smack dab in the middle of the state. It's located right about here. and that's Hartford. Go ahead and draw your star with your circle on it, or however you're marking the capitals. That's how I'm marking the capitals. It's good to be consistent across all of your maps so you can just glance at them quickly and you won't have any trouble finding the capital. There's Hartford, and there it is labeled at the bottom. The other thing that we're going to put on here is the Connecticut River. The Connecticut River goes right near Hartford, and it starts up here near this notch. And it ends right about down here somewhere, just to this side. All right. So go ahead. There's a few curves in it, but not a lot. It's not a weird shaped river or anything. There is one big curve in it that you'll see. I'll show you that in just a minute. It does take one big curve here. That's the Connecticut River. I'm going to go ahead and label mine Connecticut River. Connect. I cut. Cut. Connecticut. It's also spelled right up there at the top. River. Connecticut River. Okay, this is what your map should look like when you're finished with it. This map you are going to turn in for a grade. So submit it when you're finished for a grade. I'm going to set mine aside if I can get my hands on it, because I'm going to glue them in my notebook later. Go ahead and glue it in your interactive notebook as well, because I want to make sure that you don't lose it. Oh, I should probably put the lid on my marker. Done with that, I'm going to set it over here. All right, we are going to continue on. The Puritan spread, as the numbers of the Puritans grew, remember they spread to New Hampshire and to Connecticut. All right, we're going to go ahead and read the Puritan emphasis on education. Remember, that was one of the things that was important: education, hard work, and self-control. But education was number one. Knowing God's word as revealed in the Bible was a central point in Puritanism. To ensure that everyone was able to read the Bible, in 1642, the General Court of Massachusetts passed the first education law in the colonies. 1642 is when kids had to start going to school. According to the law, parents had to teach their kids to read. So, the parents taught them, so it was kind of. In 1647, the General Court passed a law ordering every town which had at least 50 families to support a school. So once your town had 50 families, you had to build a school. The following is an example of kind of instruction that the Puritans gave their children. It is taken from the New England Primer. This little book was first published in 1687. It taught religion, reading, and writing. And here is the excerpt. The dutiful child promises, I will fear God and honor the king. I will honor my father and mother. I will obey my superiors. I will submit to my elders. I will love my family. I will love my friends. I will hate no man. I will forgive my enemies and pray to God for them. I will, as much as in me lies, keep all of God's holy commandments. So in the primer, even the alphabet was taught in connection with religious ideas. The Puritans were very religious people. So yes, they came to the New World, to America, for religious reasons. They founded the colony of Massachusetts, the Massachusetts Bay Colony, which is now the Boston area, was founded on Christian principles. Don't let anybody tell you that's not true. Don't let people start changing our history. Our country was founded on Christian principles. The Puritans who founded the Massachusetts Bay Colony were very religious people, and they were Christians. In the primer, even the alphabet was taught in connection with religious ideas. The children learned their letters from their little rhymes like these. A, in Adam's fall, we sinned all. B, thy life to mend, this book, meaning the Bible, attend. J, Job fills the rod, yet blesses God. Job is a man um, from the Old Testament. And you can read about him if you are interested. Whoops, I got the wrong book. It's in the Old Testament, and it's called the Book of Job. We are going to be on page 74 in our readers. Page 74, chapter 12. It's called Living in a Puritan Colony. The first section is family life. Families were very important to the Puritans. Puritan parents raised their children according to very strict rules. It is the year 1640. In Salem, one of the harbor towns in Massachusetts colony, Patience and Hope have just arrived at Mistress Darby's Dame School. A dame school is a private school run by a woman teacher. It's only for girls. The school is not in a special building like the ones students attend today. It is in Mistress Darby's own small house, and she is very strict. Parents pay Mistress Darby to teach their children in her kitchen, one of just 2 rooms in her house. There, Patience and Hope are learning how to read, write, and do arithmetic. Even the girls learn to read, write, and do math. The 2 girls will attend the dame school together for 2 years. After that, they will stay home and learn how to cook, weave, and sew. They will not go to school anymore. Puritan boys, however, will get the chance to continue their education. The children have spent the morning practicing their ABCs using a hornbook. A hornbook is not really a book. It is a flat board that looks like a paddle. The alphabet is printed on one side, and on the other side is a prayer. In the afternoon, the children are beginning to study their only textbook, the New England Primer. It has rhymes that teach the alphabet and spelling words. The primer also has many prayers, poems, and questions about the Bible. Mistress Darby has told each child to learn certain poems by heart. She expects them to be said perfectly. We do the same thing here. We do recitations. Patience, Mrs. Darby calls sharply. Repeat your lesson. Patience stands and recites. Be you to others kind and true as you'd have others do to you, and neither do nor say to men whate'er you would not take again. Patience slowly lets out her breath. She has remembered it correctly. Mistress Darby seems satisfied for now. Finally, it is time to go home. Patience is glad she remembered her lesson today. I'm going to show you a little excerpt from the primer. I read it to you, but you can see there. In Adam's fall, we sinned all. See how the A is bolded? Thy life to men, thy book. They're talking about the Bible. And then there's the C. See how all the letters are bolded? And that's how they learned their lesson. After school, Patience and Hope walk home, crossing the large grassy common. The common is an open pasture that belongs to everyone in the town. The townspeople bring their cows to graze on the common. The children walk past the meeting house. On Sundays, every family in Salem must worship there. They listen to long sermons read from the Bible, and they sing hymns. A sermon is a speech on a religious topic given by a religious leader. The service lasts all day, and the minister is very serious. A minister is a religious leader in a Protestant church. His sermons are full of hard words, but Father later explains what the minister has said. On Sundays, Patience and Hope know good Puritans are not supposed to do anything except go to the meeting house to worship God. Sound familiar? Yes, just like the Wilders. They can go to church, and that's it. Then they sit and do nothing. Just ask Almanzo. It's not fun. They do not even make their beds. Adults do not work, and children certainly are not allowed to play. Last Sunday, Patience and Hope were both punished. They were running and jumping as the townspeople walked home from the meeting house. Now, coming home from school, Patience and Hope reached the door of their small 2-story house. The downstairs is one large room, and it is called the keeping room. The keeping room is the only room in the house with a fireplace. The fireplace is used both for heating and for cooking. It is so big that you can walk right into it and make a small fire in one of the corners. Everyone gathers in the keeping room to eat and to do chores and to study. And in the winter, the whole family sleeps there. The children's father has just come in from the fields with their big brother, Josiah. Their older sister, Honor, is helping the children prepare a meal. Helping their mother prepare a meal. Sorry. Patience and Hope do not speak. They know that Puritan fathers expect their children to be silent until he speaks to them first. Sounds like Almanzo also. Children should not initiate a discussion. They should wait until they are spoken to. Father is telling Josiah how the Puritans came to Massachusetts from England. That was before Patience and Hope were born. When we lived in England, we Puritans were not happy with the leaders of the Church of England, Father tells Josiah. Patience and Hope are quiet. They want to hear the story too, instead of being sent outside to do their chores. The Church of England is too fancy. We do not like its stained glass windows or the organ music that is played during its worship services. We do not like the fancy robes that its ministers must wear. Many Puritans were thrown in jail because they wanted to change the Church of England. So we decided that we would leave England and come to this new land. All the children listened carefully as Father continues his story. While we were on the ship, Governor Winthrop told us that in Massachusetts, we Puritans must be as a city upon a hill. That means we must be an example for people everywhere in the world to follow. We formed a company called the Massachusetts Bay Company. The king gave our company a charter to start our own colony in New England. A charter is a document that's given by a ruler to a group of people that allows them to elect their own government officials. The king was glad to have us move away from England. He thought that we were troublemakers. In 1630, 11 ships carrying more than 700 men, women, and children sailed to New England. Father continues, when we arrived, we could see that New England was beautiful. The trees were so green, the forests were full of deer, and the ocean was filled with fish. We worked very hard to settle here. Father turns to Patience and Hope. Children, he says, you have learned how we Puritans came to New England, but it is time to go back to work. You both have chores to do outside, and I have wood to chop. The girls smile at their father before racing out to the garden. Okay, let me get my book out here. Oh, it's like, wait, that says 74. That's not right. How were the Puritan boys and girls educated differently? Yes, Puritan girls were taught in a dame school for 2 years only. They only received a very little amount of education, just enough to help them get by. They learned to read and write and do a little bit of math. And the boys went to a common school, and they went for as long as it was possible. How does the education of the Puritan children compare to the education of children today? Well, they were educated in dame schools or in common schools and they received a lot less education than what we receive today. Reading, writing, and math were the three basics. Religion was tied into all of that. The worship of God was tied into everything that they did. Today, we attend much larger schools and we learn from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade. Boys and girls today, we receive the same education. Back then, they did not. Girls received far less. What did the Puritans do on Sunday? Yes, the same thing Almanzo did. They went to the meeting house worshiping and listening to long sermons, and that was it. That's all they did. What is the keeping room? And what did they use that for? Yes, the keeping room is the only room in the whole house that has a fireplace. It's the big downstairs room. It's used to heat the rest of the house. And the family meets in the keeping room to eat and to study. And in the winter, that's where they sleep. It is the only room in the house with a fireplace, which means it's the only room in the house with any heat. They cook there and they heat there. Why do Patience and Hope remain silent when they see their father? Exactly, because they know that Puritan children are expected to be quiet unless somebody speaks to them. How is that behavior different than children today? Well, in general, today, children do not have to wait until someone asks them a question to speak. They just ask whatever questions that they might have, and they just talk whenever they want to. What is Father telling Josiah when the girls return home from school? Yes, he's sharing with Josiah the story of how the Puritans came to America. Why did the Puritans think that God wanted them to come to the New England area? John Winthrop told them that God wanted them to be an example to other people, a city on a hill. God wanted them to live by the the beliefs in the Bible, follow the 10 commandments, and to lead good lives, and to be an example for all people. Why did the King of England give the Puritans a charter to start their own colony in New England? Yeah, he was glad to be rid of them. They were nothing but troublemakers. He did not like them in England because they wanted to purify the Church of England and they wanted to change it. And the King of England was not happy with that. So he was glad to give them a charter to get the heck out of England. Yeah, he was glad to be rid of them. Why do you think that Governor Winthrop said that the Puritans would be like a city on a hill? Well, I already told you the answer. Yes, a city on a hill. If you are riding your bike or riding along in a car and there's a city built up on a hill, you can see it from a far distance off. So he made that comparison to explain that others would look to the Puritans to see what kind of an example that they set for the rest of the world. What was life like for a child in a Puritan village? They had to live according to very strict rules. That is true. They went to school. The boys went to school for much longer than the girls. They had to learn all of their lessons by heart. And on every Sunday, they had to worship at the meeting house, and they could not play or work or do anything else on a Sunday. That is true. All right, let's go ahead and get out our interactive notebooks. And we are going to add some notes to our interactive notebook. Put your heading on your paper, your name. Today's date is 5/5/21, and today's lesson is chapter 12. Okay, we don't have very much at all. I could easily have fit this at the bottom. Oh well. Oh, I gotta I'll glue those after this. The first word is a vocabulary word, hornbook. It is one word, horn book. It's a compound word. Remember, a hornbook is not really a book. A board with the alphabet and 10 digits on one side and a prayer on the other. Say it. A board with the alphabet and 10 digits on one side and a prayer on the other. Say it. A board with the alphabet and 10 digits on one side and a prayer on the other. Say it as you're writing it down. A board with the alphabet and 10 digits. That'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. And 10 digits on one side and a prayer on the other. And it's usually the Lord's Prayer on the other side. You can look that up if you're interested in what that prayer is, but that was the most common one on the other side of the hornbook. Sermon, a speech on a religious topic given by a religious leader. Say it. A speech on a religious topic given by a religious leader. Say it. A speech on a religious topic given by a religious leader. Say it as you're writing it down. A speech on a religious topic given by a religious leader. And then finally, our last definition is charter. A document given by a ruler to a group of people, allowing them to elect their own government officials. Say it. A document given by a ruler to a group of people, allowing them to elect their own government officials. Say it. A document given by a ruler to a group of people, allowing them to elect their own government officials. Say it as you're writing it down. A document given by a ruler, to a group of people, allowing them to elect their own government officials. F-I-C-I-A-L-S. All right, that's it. That's all the notes there are today. See, I told you it was really short, but that's okay because we did the 2 maps. Remember, you need to turn in your map of Connecticut for a grade. We'll be back. Oh, I won't be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's your checkpoint. On Thursday, and then Friday, we'll be back with chapter 13. You guys have a great day. I'll see you Friday. Bye.